I'm Kristin again, and this week's question is, how can I measure student performance in gaming? And I had to think a lot about this. It was kind of hard, but I did read Clark Aldridge's book, Simulations in the Future of Learning, and I found his chapter regarding assessments very, very helpful. It made me reevaluate my entire grading process, the way he talks about whether or not grades reflect the student or the instructor more accurately. Very good question. And also, should an instructor elevate and evaluate the level of elevation? I think that question is very important. What is the instructor's role? What is the goal of the student? Is it just to achieve a grade or a certain score, or are we supposed to be learning something here? Are they supposed to be learning games? And when you get into gaming, it's kind of hard. How do you evaluate whether or not a student's learning? I think the whole idea of achieving new levels as opposed to certain scores really shows more achievement, more definitive learning gains, as opposed to, oh, I just got this high score. Well, fine, did you really learn anything? Maybe it was easy for you to begin with, and that's why you get the highest score. Now, if you have to fight or work hard to get to a new level, well, then we know you've gained something because you didn't beat it the first time around. You didn't just immediately start on that level. You didn't just jump to that level. You had to work to get there. And it really made me think about the way I would grade in the classroom, and how am I supposed to grade anything anymore? Now I'm just re-evaluating everything and thinking more about learning gains. So in the end, the question is, how do you really evaluate a student's performance in gaming as opposed to a traditional classroom? I think the best way would be to look at the different levels of achievement. Where did they start and where did they end? What was their score in the beginning? What was their score at the end? But not just the numbers. Did they achieve something? Did they learn something? Did they grow? Where were they hurting in the beginning? What skills did they improve on? How did they improve on them? What kind of thinking skills did they use? What kind of skills did they use altogether? Very important. Do teachers think the student has a better grasp on what's being taught than they did before they went in? Do you think the student actually understands what's going on, not just getting through the game to demonstrate a score like they do in class very often? They just breeze through the class, do whatever they have to do to get the A, but have they learned? Definitely a lot harder to assess learning games as opposed to just saying, okay, yeah, they have A's, or yeah, they have the highest score. You really have to sit down and look at what they're learning, how they're learning it, why they're learning it. Are they really learning, or are they just trying to beat the game? What did I learn this week? I learned a lot about gaming, and it is very, very in-depth. Much more complicated than I thought it was before. There's a lot to be offered in the classroom, and that really excites me. In my own classroom, I also learned that my students love the game Taboo, since I'm an English teacher, and we had a skip day where nobody showed up to school on Friday, so I took out Taboo for the few students that showed up. And we just finished reading The Crucible, and we're going to do a role-playing game with that. I'm very excited, but as we were playing Taboo, I was like, so I'm having them create their own version of Taboo on The Crucible. It's, a game, using a game in the classroom, and they really, really got into it. They were so excited, and I'm really going to enjoy seeing what they come up with next week as we play the Crucible version of Taboo. So I learned that maybe I can incorporate gaming into my classroom easier than I thought. It's not going to be so hard. Very excited, and next week we'll be implementing the role-playing game. And now I'm just looking at assessments, so I'm really excited about how I'm going to assess my students' knowledge. I've learned a lot about that as well. So it should be interesting. It should be interesting. Very exciting.